with other stuff as well, but how often do you fall off the bandwagon?
Well, the SEALs didn't beat this into me. You have to have it before you even get there.
Right.
Because if you're not structured and disciplined before you get there, they can't teach you while you're getting your ass kicked because you'll quit. So basically for me is once you really want to become uncommon amongst the best people in the world, you can't give yourself a way out. A common individual can stay on point for a year and they fall off. That's normal. It's that uncommon person that has, how long I haven't taken the day off for 6 years. You don't hear that very often. That's how you start to separate yourself. So to separate yourself, you can't allow yourself to say, oh man, for some reason, I let myself go for a week and then I just have a hard time getting back. You have to put in your mind that I don't want to be that person anymore. For me to separate myself from everybody, that's what most people do. Most people cannot be like, oh, I'm not missing a day regardless, because if I miss today, I'm going to miss tomorrow. And I know that about myself. So come hell or high water, I'm going to get it in. And you have to get the mindset of it haunts you if you don't get it in.
Yeah.
So
something I really like, I find really refreshing about you, aside from other motivational speakers, is when I hear people going, you're special, you're uncommon. A lot of people go, there's nothing special about me. Whereas I think you just own it in a really humble way. It's like, well, I am fucking special. I am uncommon, as you say. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking for a lot of people listening, they want to be that 1%, or they think they want to be that 1%. Do you think self-awareness is really key for entrepreneurs today, in that saying, actually, maybe I'm not really an entrepreneur. Maybe I'm not actually made to be uncommon. I think that'd be a hard thing to accept for me and a lot of my listeners. But do you think that is?
It's huge. I mean, you really have to have that, because I talk to myself in a very honest way. A lot of things I'm not great at. And if you don't have that in you, you got to tell yourself that. So for me, like when I tell people I know I'm uncommon, it's because I know that there's not many people in the world doing what I'm doing. Not because I'm blowing smoke up my ass. It's because I set out to do this. I set out to be uncommon. You have to set out to be a business person. You have to set out to be an entrepreneur. And you can't be like, you know what? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. No. Has to be something that you're thinking about all the time.
You're just born with it.
You're kind of born with it, but if the idea just doesn't leave your head and you're obsessed about, man, I really want to get this going, you're not going to give up when the time gets hard.
Nice. Okay. So you're saying about how you say to other people, you also talk to yourself quite a lot. I think you call it self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
So self-talk, I think that's great on a day-to-day basis. When I'm waking up in the morning, did I get out of bed on time? I make my bed. And shit, shave, shower, like you say, it's like I have that routine, and I have like the mirror. I find it weird doing the affirmations in the mirror, but so I just say shit in my head rather than saying things out loud. But that's great on the good days. But when shit gets real and you can't prepare for some things in the world, right? When you're preparing for the 100-mile race, at mile 70, your ankles are fucked and things like that. And I prepared for this. We know this was going to happen. But when life throws a spanner in the works that you could not have prepared for, what goes on here then?
So it's the preparation that you put into your entire life that gets you ready for the unprepared. So what does that mean? If every day you're getting up and you're sacrificing and you're pushing hard and you're exceeding these limits every day in everything you do, your mind is slowly getting calloused. Callous is like, so my hands are calloused from doing pull-ups. And you can callous your mind by continuously pushing hard at whatever you do. So calluses protect your hands. Calluses can protect your mind too. If you're constantly pushing hard, the second this crazy thing comes up you're not ready for, you really are ready for it. Because your mind's like, oh, we done harder shit than this. We can handle this also. But a weak mind, an unprepared mind, not like you know what's going to happen, but most people who come into life unprepared, that one, quick thing that happens to you that fucks you up, it's going to fuck you up real bad because you're not even ready for life.
Yeah.
You've never grinded, you never sacrificed. So how the fuck are you ready for this? So you're preparing your mind every day for those incidents that you're not aware of.
Is it literally every day?
Every day. Every day, because life throws something at you different every day, unless you just don't live life. Mm-hmm. You just live day to day about, let's pay this bill, let's do this, let's do that. If you're taking chances and taking risk, which is what life's all about, that's how you really make it in the world. You understand that that's going to happen.
Yeah. And I like doing these interviews, and I like asking questions that maybe people, when you've done 4 million interviews, you get the same questions all the time. So I don't like asking the same questions as anyone else, but I am going to get you to repeat yourself, because you said it on stage today and I was blown away by it. You spoke about your biggest fear. Mm-hmm. And I'd love if you're okay sharing that with people. And, same sort of question. How often are you thinking about that fear? Is it like every day you're thinking about that? Or?
So it's a long drawn out answer, but I kind of cut it short. So I have a very vivid imagination. I visualize a lot of things. And so I believe that there's a higher power. I don't care if you believe in it or not. This is my visualization, that we all die, we all go somewhere. And so for those of you who don't know my story, what I visualize is I used to be 297 pounds, used to spray for cockroaches, used to work for a job called Ecolab. Basically, I made $1,000 a month. To me, I was a loser going nowhere. And I changed my life around. But let's say I didn't change my life around. Let's say I lived to be 71 years old, and let's say you're God, okay? And I believe that we all get judged somewhere when we die. There has to be some kind of judgment of something. And let's say that there's a big long line, and I'm in line, I make it to heaven. And we're standing in line, and you're kind of interviewing people about their life. And behind you is a big whiteboard, piece of paper that you pull down, and on it has their life and what they've lived and what they've done. And it has their name. Let's say it's Jane Doe. And I'm behind Jane Doe. I'm next. I'm 71 years old. I weigh now 350 pounds. I worked at Ecolab my entire life. Okay? That's how I ended up. Even though I didn't. That's how I ended up. You get to me, you pull it down. I'm sitting there. I see David Goggins on the whiteboard there. And I see all these great things. You weigh 185. You became a Navy SEAL. You were in 3 Hell Weeks, Ranger School, broke world records, have a New York Times bestseller book, motivational speaker, changed lives. I look and I say, hey, God, that's my name, but that's not me. I weigh 297 pounds. I work for Ecolab. That's not what I did. And you look at me and say, well, that's what you were supposed to do, because God knows all. So he knew what you were capable of doing. I just didn't do it. So are you really in heaven or are you in hell? So for me, that would be hell for me. So that's a visualization I have about life. And I got to make sure that every day I'm grinding, because it'd be a bad, bad day for me if I die, get to heaven, and God says, man, you really cut it short. So my mind would be saying, fuck, man, that's a bad day.
Hey guys, real quick, let me give you a tip on Udemy. It's a